Well, let me begin this latest video update by thanking you so much for your prayers during my recent illness. I have to confess that I knew little or nothing about Bell's palsy, and even less about the physical and mental impact that it would have. From all that I've read, the speed of my recovery is a story of miraculous healing. And I want to give testimony to the power of God and to thank you so much for your prayers along the way. We have a great prayer answering God, don't we? To lose the power of your speech is a very frightening and challenging experience. It's given me a deeper understanding and compassion for those who've experienced strokes, many of whom are left to live with more permanent disabilities. As you can see and hear, I have recovered really well, and it's great to be back at work again. And I want to add my sincere thanks to all who stood in for me during my absence. Thank you so much for the extra work that you were willing to take on board. And so once again, we find ourselves in lockdown. But at long last, there is a real, tangible ray of hope on the horizon with news of a vaccine this week. There is a glimmer of light at the end of what has been a very long and dark tunnel. How long, O Lord? Probably echoes the cry that most of us have expressed over recent weeks and months. As the days get darker and Christmas and New Year approaches and we're still shrouded in a certain amount of uncertainty, how long, O Lord, before we can begin to get back together again? How long, O Lord, before I can begin to gather again with my family and my friends? And so with that question of longing hanging over us, I want to introduce some really exciting new Advent material that we're going to begin in a few weeks together. The title for the new series is Worship in the Waiting, and my sense is that this comes at just the right time as we prepare to journey into this rather strange, socially distanced period of Advent. And in response to that sense of separation, we have found, I believe, a great way of being able to journey together as a church family towards Christmas and into the new year. This theme of waiting seems highly relevant for us right now, doesn't it? And it's that theme of waiting that is going to draw us back to the solid ground of God's promises in these coming weeks. So on Sunday the 22nd, we're going to begin with an introduction to this new series under the title Waiting for the King, as we reflect on the rule and the reign of Jesus Christ. And to help us to journey together and to get the most out of our Sundays, we're going to be emailing out to you a personal devotion guide that goes with this series so that you can journey with others through the week and we can join together on Sundays to share what we have discovered together. For those not digitally connected, we're going to provide a hard copy for you. And alongside our Sundays and our midweek readings, Sarah is going to be leading a weekly reflection on a Wednesday evening on Zoom, similar in style to our Easter meditations, which I know many of you have found really helpful. Other plans for our Christmas period will include a Christmas communion service on site with some live music and readings on Wednesday the 23rd of December. There is no doubt that this Christmas is going to have a very different feel to it, given the restrictions that we have to continue to adhere to. But here we are busy working on some plans to take the Christmas story out into our local community. So do please pray for us, and we'll be sharing some of those plans in coming weeks and hopefully some of the ways in which you can be involved with us. Also delighted to be able to say that we've begun the advertising process for an associate minister. And I want to say a big thank you to those of you who have begun to honour the financial pledges that we made together at the beginning of the year. That money is going to be ring-fenced as it's given so that we can build up the necessary funds that will enable us to make this appointment. Do please pray with us that God will lead us to the person of his choosing. If you'd like more information about the job description, or perhaps you might know of somebody who might be interested in applying for this role, you'll find that job description, a copy of that job description on our church website. Many of you will know by now the huge task that Sarah's undertaken in working to re-establish our small groups. I'm so grateful for the work that Sarah's already done, and you're going to hear more about that in the coming weeks as we prepare to relaunch our small group network in the new year. Belonging to a small group is really important. And I want to do all that I can to encourage you to join in with this new and important initiative. It's an essential way of growing as a follower of Jesus Christ and supporting each other along the way. As I look back over the last couple of months, I just want to say how encouraging it has been to see so many of you returning to our church site again. This period of mini lockdown gives me an opportunity to say a huge thank you to those who have helped us to reopen our buildings again. For those of you who've been heading up our health and safety guidelines and making it happen for us, thank you. For those of our youth leaders and our children's leaders who've made it possible for our children and young people to return to site. For those who made live streaming possible, I want to thank you for the huge amount of work that you guys have been doing in the background over these last number of weeks. To our staff and to our leadership team and to a whole host of volunteers that help us to make things happen. You know who you are. I'm really hoping that in the coming weeks we can pick up where we left off again. Do plan to join us as we think about reopening again on Sunday the 6th of December. Do plan to join us if you can, or if not, continue to join with us online on a Sunday morning. Waiting is a powerful theme that runs right through the Bible story. And if you're like me, I find waiting really difficult. And sometimes I see waiting as something of a waste of time. But sometimes these are the very occasions that God has something specific to say into our lives. In Hebrews 11, we're given a whole list of Bible characters who lived by faith, waiting for the fulfillment of God's promises to them. Even Jesus himself waited 30 years before he began his earthly ministry. God, according to Peter, is not slow in keeping his promises as some understand slowness. Instead, he is patient with you. What lovely words to hear in this period of waiting. So let's not miss out on what God may be saying into our lives in this period of waiting. And so, my friends, as we head into Advent, may we too enter into God's patient, unhurried pace and find ourselves being transformed into Christ-like people in the process. May God bless you as we continue to journey together.